Gratitude can be great for our hearts and our minds. Although we are very effective change agents, we're constantly on the lookout and in the pursuit for change and improving and creating novel experiences. There are benefits, it seems, to quieting and being still and reflecting, to be grateful for that which is, that already exists, not to stay static, but to orient our minds to that which is good around us and to have us feel some sense of abundance, some sense of richness. So I hope you join me in this today's gratitude exercise. Drum roll. I have my gratitude journal. Is the sun. Gratitude for the sun. Soleil, sol. The legendary sun. Oh, it's a bright light, isn't it? You know, our sun is a star in the sky. I think it's very cool to think of it that way when we look at the stars, the night sky, when we see distant points so far away. There's something magical and mysterious. We send our wishes upon a star, and yet right in our own solar backyard is our very own star, our sun. There's something quite special about that. The sun is so legendary for many reasons, and it's been a part of mythology. It's been a part of the way that we organize our lives, isn't it? For as long as I can imagine in recorded human history, and probably before that. Is it alright if I reach out to you? Thank you. The sun shines on all of us. It's a symbol of life. And if you think about it, so much of our schedule, of how we orient ourselves, typically revolves around the sun. The sun influences so much behind the scenes, right in the middle of the scene. And it can influence our emotions. It influences our health. The sun is incredibly important. So, if you think about it, the sun has a role to play in so many of our natural phenomenon. It helps us to dictate, in addition to the rotation of the earth and how it tilts on its axis. But the reason why we have a calendar year is because the gravity of the sun is so big that we rotate around and around and around. And then as the earth is rotating, it wobbles back and forth. I guess its hips don't lie. And that creates the seasons, because as the earth, unless you're living right at the equator, I wonder, I actually don't know if there are seasonal shifts so much, perhaps, even with the tilt, but maybe not as drastic if you're on closer to the different poles as the earth leans away from the sun and it's moving. We have our colder climate and temperature, and as the earth tilts towards, we feel warmer spring and sun temperatures. And I guess depending on where you are in the world, that will influence whether it's spring or summer, or winter and fall, and maybe at different parts of the year. And so think about how important seasonal activities are when it comes to what we celebrate, when it comes to the foods that we eat. So much joy and so much bliss comes from the sharing in the seasons. The temporality or the temporariness of the seasons in itself is a special thing, I would think. We look forward to certain fruits and vegetables and herbs being in season, and there are occasions and holidays that take place at different parts of the year. And many of these are influenced by what is taking place in our seasons. Speaking of fruits and vegetables, they exist because of sunlight. The warmth and the light energy helps the plants have photosynthesis, and so they can grow and they can flourish. So much of what we visually see and enjoy is in the plant world. If you think about it, look at all of the lusciousness that comes with the plants that we see around. None of them would be here without the sun. And of course, other factors. We have soil and water that we need, but the sun plays such an integral role, heating the earth, warming the soil, bringing that light energy down, that heat energy down. And in terms of pollination, it is the sun that influences the wind. I don't know too much about this, but my understanding, very, very minor understanding, is that there's uneven distributions of heat from the sun's rays on the earth, and this unevenness can create the wind patterns. This can help pick up different seeds to pollinate different parts of the ecosystem. It helps, I suppose, that wind picking up and moving different seeds around helps with diversity. It helps us have variety. I could be wrong, but that's my impression. And think about the wind. The wind, oh, how wonderful does the breeze feel on your skin? Think about when you've been on a beach or in a meadow, and that breeze, that beautiful breeze, or if you lie down and look up. Have you ever been under a tree and just listened to the fluttering leaves? That's there, in part because of the sun. The beautiful warmth that the sun casts down on us. Just so comforting and warming when you think about it. I imagine there's some parts of the world where the sun is so hot, and it could feel like a lot. But I wonder if there's even parts of day in the very hottest of climates where when the sun is low, after an evening, after the night sky is cooling off the air and the ground, when the sun just starts to peek up, if it creates the loveliest sense of warmth. I wonder, in colder climates, the sun is a sign of hope. And if you can imagine in times before electricity and fire, when we could illuminate the night, when it wasn't a full moon or bright moon, the night would be really, really dark. I can't imagine. And so the sun would be reprieve from darkness. I imagine it would be a time when we would really have to bunker down and make sure that we're safe. And now we are able to light our streets in many places in the world. But the sun rising up, I think there is a sense of security and a sense of newness, a sense of hope and eagerness. I think there's many different feelings that we can have associated with the rising of the sun in the morning. That metaphor of there being a new day in itself is a lovely one. Every day, the idea that every day is a new leaf. The sun influences aurora borealis, those beautiful colors in the sky, feathers of so many gorgeous colors. Well, I've never seen them in person, but from photos and videos that I've seen, they just look awe-inspiring. The greens and pinks, purples, blues. So I wonder if there's something even eerie about them, but in a good, haunting way. They're just majestic. Majestic, beautiful. Beautiful phenomena. And the sun impacts our mood. You know, there are some of us who, when the sun feels more distant, when it becomes winter months, can have a drastic impact on our mood. And so having sun closer, when I say hope, I suppose it can represent energy and life and happiness. When we talk about there being a gloomy day or a sunny day, what kind of disposition did that person have? A sunny disposition or a gloomy disposition? Seeing the sun can have a beneficial impact on our mood, on our mental health. And from my understanding, there's growing information that suggests that having eye to the sky, so not through a window, but having our natural eye take a look at the light when the sun is rising can have a positive impact on our sleep cycle, and as well to observe the sunset. And so we know how important sleep is. We have evolved to rise and set with the sun. There are some of us that have exceptions. Some of us are night owls, of course, and those of us that are super early risers. But I think a lot of people tend to naturally want to rise with the sun and fall with the sun. And a way that we can really tune into our natural hardware. If we have trouble sleeping, it might be the matter of, or falling asleep, it might be a matter of getting that light exposure. You know, it's funny with modernity and our different lifestyles. For many of us, we may not have to leave the house for an entire day if we don't have to. Our work may be inside, and we may have access to our whatever it is we need for food inside, our activities that we've scheduled, our entertainment, our fitness, plausibly could all come from indoors without ever having to venture outdoors and to get that eye to the sky. I don't mean right into the sun, by the way. Be careful, please don't burn your retinas. Please protect your eyes when warranted. Knowing the sun can be so important for our health. Helps us generate vitamin D. There are supplements that we can take, of course, but getting a bit of that real light exposure seems to have its benefits. I know for me, I have to be cognizant of when I go out. I get a little bit tired when it's too bright outside, but that early morning light, I'm definitely motivated to catch a glimpse of and to savor, to really sink my teeth into, why not, the sunrise and the sunset. Aesthetically, the sun really brings us benefits, doesn't it? Beautiful visuals in the sky, even shadows. Imagine what it'd be like if there were no shadows. The sun casting its light. Well, light influences how we view things, how we see things. And in general, the sun, and without directly looking at it, the sun is a visually appealing part of our sky. There's something very warming and delightful about its presence, isn't there? Just in the background. It's hanging out. It's watching over us in a way as we keep circling, as we keep cycling. It's a constant. It's something that we can have a pretty high guarantee that it will be around. You know, things aren't always for certain, that's for sure. But having that constancy, that security in having it there is assuring. It's comforting. At least as I say it, I feel that for me. Well, thank you. If there's anything that you'd like to add, you're more than welcome to drop a comment below. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining in this gratitude session for the sun. I hope you enjoyed. I'm wishing you well. I'm wishing you well. I'm wishing you well.